Welcome students. In the next class of History, Standard 6. Today we are going to start a new chapter. Chapter 9. The Age of the Guptas. Open your history book, page number 81. In this chapter we will study about Chandragupta Maurya 1, which is totally different with last chapter. So don't get confused. Come to the get set box. People were happy and they never registered their property or did not need to go court and government offices for any rules. Only farmers who do farming in the land of king, they had to pay tax. Criminals had to pay fine. For buying and selling goods, they used kauri. Now come to the first paragraph. The rise of the Gupta dynasty in the 4th century near Ganga Valley. Gupta period was very important period in the history of India. At that time, there was peace, prosperity, and people were free to choose any religion. That is why this period is known as Golden Age of Indian history. Sources: the Allahabad pillar, the painting of Ajanta, and the large number of coins are some archaeological sources of this period. Kalidas wrote many books which tells us about Gupta period. Come to the next topic, political history. Chandragupta I. The first powerful king of Gupta dynasty was Chandragupta I, and his time period was 320 to 335 CE. He made Patliputra his capital. He married to Kumar Devi, a princess of powerful Licchavi tribe. With the Licchavis, he carved a big empire, and he adopted the title of Maharaja Dhiraja, which means the kings of kings. Next is Samudragupta. Samudragupta was the son of Chandragupta I. His time period was 335 to 375 CE. Whatever he achieved, it is written on Allahabad pillars. In Allahabad pillars are the list of kings whom he fought is written. Samudragupta had different policies with different rulers. The first one is, in the north, Samudragupta defeated 4 powerful kings and many smaller kings. He directly controlled present-day Delhi and western Uttar Pradesh area. Second, Samudragupta defeated 12 rulers of the Deccan and some parts of south, but he did not add that kingdoms in his area because it was difficult to control them from the north. Third is, Samudragupta defeated many kingdoms such as Nepal, Assam and Bengal, and rulers had to accept his supremacy and pay him an annual tax. Fourth, Samudragupta also defeated the tribal republics in Punjab and Rajasthan and the forest tribes of the Vindhya region. Bengal in the east to Delhi in the west directly controlled by Samudragupta, and some of the area he appointed the local king, like Himalayas in the north to Kanchipuram in the south. Vincent Smith, a famous historian, has described Samudragupta as the Napoleon of India. Samudragupta performed the Ashwamedha Yagya to impose his political supremacy. He followed Hinduism but accepted all religions. Samudragupta was not just a fighter, he was a poet, a musician as well. Chandragupta II. Chandragupta II was the son of Samudragupta. He became king after Samudragupta. Chandragupta II time period was 375 to 415 CE, and he was also known as Vikramaditya. He defeated the Shakyas and gained control over ports and trades. Chandragupta II made his position strong by giving his daughter in marriage to the Deccan king. The Gupta Empire reached at its best under Chandragupta II. Later Gupta. After Chandragupta II, his son Kumargupta became king. After some time, his son Skandagupta ruled. But after Skandagupta, whoever became king, all were very weak. Fa Hin account. Fa Hin was a Chinese pilgrim who visited India to study Buddhist scriptures. He came India in 405 CE, spent 6 years in Buddhist monasteries. He wrote many things about Gupta period. Next is administration. The king was the head of the administration. The empire was divided into many provinces or bhuktis, each headed by a prince. The princes were assisted by a group of officials called the Kumaratyas. The provinces were further divided into districts or vishyas, each placed under a Vishyapati. Each district had a council to help in the administration. The smallest administrative unit was the village. The headman looked after the village. The Gupta administration was fully decentralized. The officials were independent of central control and had a lot of freedom to administer the territories under their charge. Next is society. During the Gupta rule, people were prosperous and happy. Fa Hin writes that people did not lock their houses, which means that crimes such as robbery and theft were rare. The caste system had become extremely strict during this period. The 4 main castes. There were also many subcastes. The untouchables were treated badly. The position of women declined in this period. They received no education, were married off early, and were discouraged from attending social functions. Education. The Guptas encouraged education. Kumar Gupta founded the university at Nalanda in modern Bihar. It attracted scholars from across India and abroad. Next is religion. Hinduism was the most popular religion. Most Gupta rulers were worshippers of Vishnu. The Gupta kings were tolerant of all religions. With the growing popularity of Hinduism, Buddhism and Jainism lost their importance. This form of worshipping God was simple, inexpensive and based on faith and love of the devotee. Next is economy. Agriculture was the main occupation of the people. Most of the revenue came from land. India traded with Southeast Asia, West Asia, Africa and some Mediterranean countries. Tamralipati, Broch, Sopara and Kalyan were the main ports handling overseas trades. Spices, pearls, ivory, perfumes, textiles and precious stones were the main item of export. Next is art and architecture. The Gupta kings built many temples. The Dasavarta temple at Devghar, the temple at Bittagaon and the temple at Sachi are very beautiful. They are constructed of brick and stone. One monastery is in Ajanta. Its walls are covered with paintings depicting events from the life of the Buddha. These cave paintings, amongst the finest in the world, are a popular tourist attraction. The statue of the seated Buddha from Sarnath is one of the finest examples of Gupta sculpture. It depicts the Buddha in the pose of preaching Dharma. Literature. The Gupta kings were patrons of Sanskrit literature. Some of the finest poetry and dramas in Sanskrit were written during this time. The greatest poet and dramatist of this period was Kalidasa. There were other great writers too. Sudraka, Vishakha-datta. The famous Panchtantra was written by Vishnu Sharma during this period. The study of language, particularly grammar and lexicography, also progressed. Panini's Ashtadhyayi is a work on Sanskrit grammar. Amar Simha compiled a dictionary in Sanskrit called Amar Kosha. Next is astronomy. Aryabhatta and Varamihara were the two leading astronomers of this period. Aryabhatta discovered that the earth goes around the sun and also moves on its axis. He wrote Aryabhatyam. Varamihara wrote Brihat Samhita, an encyclopedia of science. Mathematics. The numeral system was very advanced. Numerals were first developed and used by the Indians. Indian mathematicians knew the use of zero. They also used the decimal system extensively. Metallurgy. The science of metallurgy was highly advanced. This is clear from the condition of the iron pillar at Mehrauli in Delhi. The Gupta gold coins were also beautifully designed. Medicine. Dhanvantari was the greatest physician of this time. Veterinary science also progressed during the Gupta period. A book titled Ashwashishtra deals with various animal diseases. The Gupta period, with its powerful monarchs and a stable government, witnessed a surge of creativity in art, architecture, painting, and literature. New discoveries in science contribute to the progress of civilization. Many historians refer to this age as a Gupta Golden Age. Children, I hope you all are clear with this chapter. Thank you, students.